It was a slow, hushed Sunday afternoon, the kind where sunlight filters lazily through the curtains, and everything outside moves like it's been dipped in molasses. I had just finished giving the windowsill plants a little water, tough little things that somehow kept going despite my neglect. The house was still, wrapped in its own silence, save for the low hum of the fridge and the occasional pensive face from the old wooden floor beneath my bare feet. I was just settling into my favorite reading chair, worn and familiar in all the right ways, when I heard a knock at the door. Not sharp, not frantic, just soft, like someone unsure they should even be knocking. I wasn't expecting anyone. For a second, I assumed it might be a neighbor or maybe someone needing a signature for a package. But when I opened the door, there stood Sam, my neighbor Carla's boy. He looked like he'd just come in from a walk, hoodie damp around the edges, jeans clinging to him slightly, and his hair curling from the moisture. A notebook was tucked awkwardly under his arm like he wasn't sure if he should be carrying it at all. I hadn't seen much of Sam since he came home from school for the summer. Always polite but quiet, the kind of kid who looked at his shoes when he talked and called me ma'am, no matter how many times I told him not to. "Hey, Ms. Lorna," he said, his voice a little unsure. His eyes flicked up to meet mine, brown, open, older than they used to be. I smiled, trying to ease the tension in his shoulders. "You're 20 now, Sam. Drop the you've earned it." That pulled a shy laugh from him. He nodded. "Right. Sorry. I was wondering if I could ask you for help with something." I stepped aside, motioning him in. The faint scent of coffee and lavender hung in the air from earlier. "Of course. Come in. Everything okay?" He hesitated for half a second before stepping inside, glancing around like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to be there. "Yeah. I just didn't want to bother my mom. She's working. And I remembered you used to be a teacher." I led him to the kitchen, poured 2 glasses of iced tea, and sat across from him at the table. He placed the notebook between us and tapped its cover nervously. "I'm taking a summer class. English. We have to write a personal essay about something that matters to us. Keep starting and deleting. I don't even know where to begin. And I thought someone like you, someone who's seen more of life, might know how to help." His words hit something inside me. I hadn't thought of myself as someone with wisdom to share in a long while. Retired. Widowed. Most days my conversations were with potted herbs or the girl at the checkout lane. But his voice, so sincere and uncertain, lit something in me I thought had long gone dim. It made me feel something I hadn't in ages. Useful. Few days later it rained. That soft, steady kind that hushes the world without trying to drown it. I just finished folding laundry, everything smelling faintly of soap and late spring, when I heard the now familiar knock. Until, like punctuation at the end of a quiet sentence. I opened the door already knowing. Sam stood there, hoodie pulled over his head, sleeves damp, sneakers carrying flecks of mud. His backpack hung heavy on one shoulder. "Sorry," he said, his voice just above a whisper. "I should have called." "It's okay," I said. "You're always welcome." He stepped out of his shoes at the door like he always did now and looked around the living room as if he were entering a place with a memory. "I brought something," he said, unzipping the backpack. "The essay. I wanted you to read it." He handed me a piece of paper, folded, a little worn at the edges. Carried around for a while, I could tell. I sat on the couch, the paper cool in my hands, and read. It wasn't polished. It wasn't perfect. But it was honest. Beautiful in a way that didn't try too hard. He wrote about that first afternoon. The iced tea, the light in the kitchen, how I listened without interrupting. But more than that, he wrote about how, in that moment, he felt seen. Like he wasn't invisible for once. When I looked up, he was watching me. Not proudly. Not nervously. Just waiting. "You have a voice," I said softly, fingers resting on the paper. "And it matters." He let out a breath, one of those deep, full-body exhales like he'd been carrying something heavy. Then he sat down beside me, not close but close enough that I could feel the warmth of him in the space between. The candle I'd lit earlier still burned low, filling the room with cinnamon and wax. The rain played its rhythm on the roof. "I don't know why," he said, voice low, "but I feel like I can talk to you about anything." It stirred something in me. Not from ego, from truth. As you get older, people stop looking to you. You become background, reliable, invisible, present but passed over. But Sam, he saw me. I reached over, rested my hand on his wrist. Not out of desire. Not with an agenda. Just something human. "I'm glad," I said. "You're safe here." He nodded, and for a second his eyes didn't look away. Something shifted. Not inappropriate. Just quietly acknowledged. We talked for a while. About his father who hadn't called in months. About my late husband, Neil. And how quiet had become a sound in the house after he passed. We didn't fix anything. We didn't try to. We just stayed in the silence together. When he stood to leave, he lingered. "Is it weird that we talk like this?" he asked. I shook my head. "No. I think it's rare." He smiled, the kind of smile that comes from feeling understood. "Can I come by again?" he asked. "Even if I don't need anything." "Anytime," I said. He stood there like he wanted to say something more, but didn't. Then he turned and walked back into the mist. I stood at the door long after he was gone, breathing in the scent of candle smoke and rain. I didn't know what was forming between us. But I knew it wasn't ordinary. Sam started coming by more. Not on a schedule. Just enough that I noticed when he didn't. Sometimes he brought stories. Sometimes just his silence. I never asked why. One evening I was stirring a stew, one Neil used to love, when I heard the knock. No surprise. No hesitation. He stepped inside. "Smells amazing. You're just in time." He leaned on the counter as I cooked. Talked about school. His mom. The not knowing of it all. He listened. Sometimes I said something. Sometimes I let silence carry the weight. Later we sat on the couch, candles low, tea in hand. "I feel like I don't know who I'm supposed to be," he said. "Like everyone has plans for me I didn't make." "That's okay," I told him. "Most of us are still figuring it out." He looked at me. Really looked. "You always know what to say." Smiled. "That's age. Eventually you stop pretending you've got the answers." His knee brushed mine. My heart stirred, not wildly but deeply, like something waking up after a long nap. He whispered, "Karen, you make me feel like I can breathe again." Closed my eyes. Let that truth settle. "I'm glad," I said. "That's all I've ever wanted." We didn't kiss. We didn't cross lines. But something passed between us.